used to. I don't debate as well as I used to. But I know what I do know. I know how to tell the truth.
President Biden will pardon his son, Hunter Biden.
Have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes.
You have.
I'm honest.
At White House Senior Living, our residents feel right at home. Our vibrant facility offers delightful activities and outings, round-the-clock professional care, and exquisite house-made meals.
Well, I've been eating everything that's put in front of me. I've been eating all Italian foods, basically.
And ice cream.
And ice cream, chocolate chip ice cream.
White House Senior Living, where residents feel like presidents.
What is up, guys? TYSON DELACRUZ here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. This video was sent over to me. It's Chris Cuomo and Stephen A. Smith talking about a potential pardon for Donald Trump.
We bring the boom. That's what we do. We bring the boom. We bring the boom to you.
We know in recent days, Joe Biden has recently pardoned Hunter Biden through all the gaslighting and lies. We already knew that this was going to happen. We already knew that he was going to pardon his son. But to gaslight the Americans the way that they have been doing for the past 4 years, it needs to stop. It needs to stop. Shout out to everybody watching. Drop your comments down below and smash the like button if you kindly would. Let's jump into this video with Chris Cuomo and Stephen A. Smith.
You know, the Biden situation disgusted me in terms of the pardon, only from this standpoint, Chris. Nobody on the planet, you want to be a cynic and you want to act like you would be offended by something like that if you're one of those people out there, fine. But no one within reason would have a problem with him saying, it's my son. I love him. There's no way I'm sending him to jail. And I have the power to avoid it. Nobody would blame him for that. But that's not where he went. So I didn't have a problem to answer your question directly with the decision that he made to pardon his son. Boo-Boo the Fool knew he was going to do that. I don't care who he stood in front of or sat in front of and said that he wasn't going to pardon his son and he was just going to go by the letter of the law. Please, everybody and their grandmother knew he was going to pardon his son. But to come out and to start talking about how it's been a witch hunt and the Department of Justice and others were after him or whoever it was and, you know, the GOP rather was after him. Well, wait a minute. What have y'all been doing with Donald Trump all of these years? Exactly. Now, you can make an argument about the legitimacy of the cases against Donald Trump compared to what wasn't legitimate, et cetera. That's not the point. The point is it was clearly politicized. You had folks on the left who were hell-bent on going after Donald Trump because they were determined to make sure that he couldn't run for re-election or that these elements would get in the way of him possibly winning re-election. And now we know why more than ever, because they weren't confident they would ever be able to beat him. He'd been a Republican nominee since 2016. He beat Hillary Clinton with the Electoral College vote. He wouldn't concede defeat in 2020, but he did receive over 74 million votes at that particular moment in time. And then you fast forward 4 years later, despite the 34 felony convictions, the 2 impeachments, the bevy of crimes that he had been accused of, the Republican voters out there, the conservative voters out there, and a lot of independents from various communities said, he's the guy we want, and I've said it on many, many occasions. It wasn't about him. Just like it wasn't about Biden in 2020, it was more against Trump. In this particular instance, it was an indictment against the Biden administration, what had been going on for the last 4 years. Some of the things going on with the border, obviously inflation, of course, crime in the streets, of course, woke and cancel culture and all of that, it all played a role. And so for him to come out and to talk about that this was a witch hunt when clearly it could be argued that's exactly what you were doing to Donald Trump or you assisted in doing seems beyond hypocritical. And that was what disgusted me. It wasn't his decision. It wasn't him pardoning his son. It was the weak, pathetic explanation that he gave, which has most critics just shaking their heads and raising their eyebrows and saying, what nerve you have.
Now, I agree with you 100%. I went light on that point in my open because I knew you were going to make it. I agree with you 100%. And he didn't have to do it that way. He could have just said what you said, which is, hey, look, I don't want them. He's my son, and they're going to go after him. And if I can protect him, I'm going to protect him. You know what else Biden should do? And I know people are going to get upset about this, but just think about it before you go crazy on me. Not you,
Sure.
everybody else. If I were he, I would pardon Trump. I
You
would
know
pardon
something?
Trump.
Honestly,
I would say
honestly,
this
as
has gotta
crazy as this
stop.
sounds, Chris,
I'd pardon.
Chris, that's exactly what I would do. That's exactly what I would do. Enough's enough. You know what? You're
Enough.
the Democrats. You lost the election. You got your butt whipped. You couldn't prevent him from going back to the White House. More than a dozen cases have been dropped against him. The cases that have been ruled against him, he's going to appeal, and he'll probably get off from having to deal with all of that. It's time to move forward. You want to get at Trump? Sit back and judge what he does. Guess what? You got a midterm election in 2 years. Are you going to be ready if you're the Democratic Party? You should be. You know, he's going to be the presidency for 4 years. You're going to be able to judge every single act that he does. March forward, move forward. You know, Gerald Ford could have let Nixon suffer. You know, to say he didn't let that happen. Why? Because it was for the good of the country. The whole hanging Chads issue in 2000 between George W. Bush and Al Gore. Gore could have dragged it on. He didn't. It was for the better of the country. And a lot of times these folks speak about this stuff, but they don't do what they say they're going to do and what they implore others to do, which is where the disgust elevates exponentially for Washington, D.C., because we know they're full of it most of the time.
You know what's interesting to me is since Stephen A. Smith feels this particular way about Joe Biden gaslighting the American people for a long time, saying that he was not going to pardon his son, why is this individual, Stephen A. Smith, why doesn't he vote Republican? You know, he's one of those individuals that vote Dem no matter who. And it is absolutely ridiculous to me that he comes out openly and says this on News Nation with Chris Cuomo and saying, hey, you know, it's a disgrace, yada, yada, yada. But in some scenarios, he still defends the Democrat Party, which to me shows his alliance and shows his inability to pull out his balls out of his pocket and actually make a decision that's going to be fruitful for the United States of America. I'd love to get your guys' thoughts on this. Let me know, do you think that Joe Biden would have the testicular fortitude to pardon Donald Trump? I don't think so. I think it would be a good idea, but I don't think he has the balls to do it. Let me know. Drop your comments down below. Smash the like button. Share, subscribe. And as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.